Are you pregnant? There's a great new law meant for you.
Could become a real game changer for pregnant employees.
It's called the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act.
America needs this, we're told, because employers abuse pregnant workers.
She wound up in the ER after fainting and collapsing on the retail floor.
It's a tough pill to swallow, you know.
That's why government must protect women.
Because, you know, that's your income.
The Pregnant Workers Fairness Act sounds right and fair.
Sounds like a great thing on the surface.
Vanessa Brown Calder is Director of Family Policy at the CATO Institute. She's pregnant. The Fairness Act is meant to help people like her.
I'm somebody who is probably more worried than your average person.
Some of the listed accommodations include more time to use the bathroom and rest, flexible hours, and closer parking spots.
I get to park underneath with all the executives, and it's awesome.
It's just decent if you're pregnant. You're pregnant. Don't you want that?
Well, you would think that I would be the one that would want this most of all.
But Calder understands that this new law may lead to fewer women being hired in the first place.
These policies, they are motivated by good intentions, but that doesn't mean that the consequences of these policies will turn out well.
No, it doesn't. Remember the Americans with Disabilities Act? Both Democrats and Republicans applauded when President George Bush signed it. But the result of the act?
After the ADA passed, fewer disabled people were working.
That's right. The ADA actually had a negative impact on disabled workers' employment.
Here it is. More disabled people were getting jobs year after year. But once the ADA passed, employment of disabled workers actually dropped. It happened because the ADA makes hiring disabled workers risky. The Pregnancy Act makes hiring women risky.
Because you may be a lawsuit bomb.
It does make women more risky and more costly to hire. Employers don't know exactly what accommodation the woman might ask for.
And once she's hired, it's dangerous to fire her. She might sue. It's safer for an employer to say,
I'm just not going to hire you. That's illegal too, but there's no way for the government to know why I didn't hire.
Companies get good at working their way around these regulations.
But gullible people assume laws will do just what proponents say they'll do.
Pregnant workers now have more protections than ever before.
This is really good news.
And government officials think what counts is pleasing special interest groups.
This new law has wide support from businesses, faith, health, women's, and civil rights organizations.
Activists think of the short-term effects of the law, and so it's pretty easy to get behind a superficial reading of the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act and think that it could be a good idea.
The momentum is always for more rules.
And with legislation, oftentimes there's guidance that's issued many years after the fact. So I think this is probably just the beginning.
The growing number of rules kills jobs in several ways. Since the Pregnancy Act applies to companies with 15 or more employees.
This is an incentive for me, if I have a company, to stay small. If I have 14 employees, I'm taking a risk to hire a 15th.
So actually, you kind of get penalized as you grow.
Without a law like this, who would hire someone like you? Might have more medical problems, and you're going to leave, at least for weeks.
Pregnant workers bring a lot to the table, and I think that many employers see that. But actually, when you create a one-size-fits-all policy like this, it starts to raise many employers' concerns.
The CATO Institute should have the right to fire you because you got pregnant?
I think that they should. And part of the reason for that is because I want people like me to be able to be hired in the first place.
Exactly. I'm a stutterer. Today, we stutterers are protected by the ADA. I'm sure glad the law didn't exist when I applied for my first jobs. My employers wouldn't have risked hiring me. I would have never gotten a chance. Now, the Pregnancy Act will kill opportunities for women. But the politicians and the media never learn. Since the ADA killed jobs for disabled people, why would politicians think the Pregnancy Act would be any different? You'd think they'd learn, but they never do. With your help, we at Stossel TV will keep trying to educate them.